Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
If you build it, he will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cowk.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cowk with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Garrison Financial Friday out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. We're glad to have you along for the next hour. I'm bringing something new to the last segment, and it's going to be perfect because, you know, Jared, you probably don't care at all about this last segment, but I've been being hounded all year by our fantasy football mates.
Oh.
And so they want me to do the lines and basically just make fun of everybody that's in the league. Everybody's got kind of a little pet nickname.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it at the end. Fantasy football sucks.
I concur.
It's the most frustrating thing.
It's a job.
It's such a frustrating thing. So last night, Possum and I we've got a team together. We've had a little struggle staying healthy. So our record isn't what it needs to be, but we're finally getting some guys back. And what happens? Mark Andrews catches 2 passes for like 23 yards in the first drive of the game, and now he's out for the season. I hate fantasy football. I don't know why I agree to play. It's frustrating. So, anyhow, we're gonna some people have guys play, some people haven't, but I can see what the lines are, like the projections.
Last time I played, I won the championship. The next year, they started all of the garbage, boycott, take a knee, all that stuff. I said,
Done.
I'm done.
Done.
And I can't say that I've missed any of it.
I haven't missed it 7 weeks. I've liked it for 3. All right, Thunder whipped the Warriors last night. We can talk about that. My goodness, Isaiah Joe went crazy. College football this weekend. Both in-state schools on the road, Sooners and Provo. Oklahoma State down at Houston. There's some really good games around the country that will continue to help shape what we're looking at in the college football playoff poll as we get just a couple of weeks away from that Final Four being named. Who might be ripe for an upset this week? Also, the Michigan saga continues after we got off the air yesterday. That lawsuit is now done. And so Jim Harbaugh kind of took his medicine, accepted the punishment, and is going to be out through the rest of the regular season. We got some high school football tonight, round 2 of the playoffs. One of the, like a Mount Rushmore game in Clinton with Clinton and Ada. Some other really good ones from around the state. Got some high school hoops tonight as well. But the voice you've already heard, Scotty G, is back on this Garrison Financial Friday. How you feeling, Scott?
I'm not feeling very good. I've been looking at this college pick'em.
Yeah.
Yeah. G Money's at 82. There's probably like 6th grade girls that are beating me by 50%.
I was
because they pick who their favorite color is or mascot or something, right?
Oh, this is so bad.
I was consistently the worst of this group throughout most of the season. That has changed.
Jeez, it's just brutal.
You are you're closer to the end prize
Yeah.
than the beginning prize.
Time to start tanking.
You're not that far away.
Time to pull a Phoenix Cardinals and tank the season and get the draft picks.
Okay, so this is a question. And I read an article, I think it was yesterday on ESPN, and it basically, and I'd asked Jared this maybe last week about who, or may have been Tuesday when we did the NFL, really dug into the NFL. Who in your mind right now, we're past the halfway point, who needs to be priority number one, losing, so that they can be in the best position to get what a lot of people are now calling like a generational type draft for quality quarterbacks. Not just Williams, not just May, but a bunch of other guys that people think are going to be really good NFL quarterbacks that will be draft eligible.
Was it 84? Was that the Marino draft?
83.
83.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Giants they gotta lose out. The Giants got to get a quarterback. Will the Bears ever be relevant in football ever again? You know, I got a buddy that's a Bears fan. Great guy, fantastic guy. And I sent him, here a while back, a video. You remember the Saturday Night Lives when they had Bears fans?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious. And I mean, like 10 years, they were just living in disaster after disaster. And I thought, oh my gosh, they started doing that skit in like 88.
Yeah.
And the Bears haven't been any good since then.
You know, they had the one kind of out of nowhere Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
That's true.
Just out of no. I mean, it was just like what just happened?
Devin
Hester.
Hester.
Yes.
Yeah, he probably scored half the points returning kickoffs.
Yeah. That was just kind of whoa. What do you mean the Bears are in this? You know.
Yeah.
And from us, our ages, you know, one of the craziest, most dominant things we ever saw was the Bears defense.
Oh my
in
gosh.
1985.
Oh,
and then
with
through
Singletary in the fridge and
some others. I actually had one of the Christmas presents I got in my life was a Walter Payton, like full regale, hat, helmet, and all.
Oh, you had to be like 3.
I was like 5.
Yeah, I was about to say. There's no
I was
way
like 5
you're
years
very
old. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But then again, so Cleveland, is there no way out of Deshaun's contract for them?
It's fully guaranteed.
So even if he gets hurt and they cut him, they're paying him?
I'm afraid so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Afraid
How bad
so.
is that looking?
It is quickly becoming one of the worst trades in NFL history.
Yeah.
Not only the trade, but then the subsequent. It's one thing to trade away what they traded away to get him, and then to compound that error with the contract.
Yeah, because they could have had a very serviceable quarterback, very, very cheap. Mayfield's contract was going to be really cheap.
He's making like $8 million.
Yeah.
And Deshaun's making what, $53 million?
Yeah,
something like that.
How beautiful is karma in the year of 2023?
We talked about it this week.
We just talked about that.
Oh,
yesterday.
did you?
Yeah.
Yes, two of the
Between
most.
Lincoln Riley and the USC Trojans and the Cleveland Browns.
You've got Deshaun. I mean, I know it's kind of your game, but karma just got up in Megan Rapinoe's face this week.
See, I was listening the other day on that one. I
right
got some
up
stuff to
in
add
her
to
face. You know, that just, I mean, it goes right. She's on brand with her narcissism, saying there's not a God, and it proves it because I got hurt.
Here's
Come on,
the
man.
thing. You're listing her as part of your top 5 most hated sports figures of all time. she's not even relevant.
That's
That's
true.
She
why I
was
kinda-
never
yeah.
relevant, Aaron. She's not a sports figure. She was more of a movement figure than a sports figure.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So,
She's on the same level as like what I said about Tebow in 2008. I love Tebow,
yeah.
but the way he was put out there,
It wasn't
by the-
his fault.
It wasn't his fault.
No.
She's right there with the other guy that you named. Colin Kaepernick
Colin
is
Kaepernick.
not a sports figure. He is a movement figure. He had already lost his job when he decided to become some kind of a politician, political
Activist.
he'd
Activist,
already lost his job.
Activist, and that you know what, and think about her. To your point, you're right, because when she was a stud soccer player, you didn't hear any of this crap.
Stud.
Well, I mean, for
I mean,
for
she's
that
good
team.
enough
Alex
to make the,
Alex
yeah.
Morgan was a much
Sure.
better player on that team than she was.
way prettier. I mean,
Way prettier.
that's the problem with the whole thing. That's what's irritant. Instead of getting smoking hot Alex Morgan out front
Yeah.
with something good,
Our
we've got,
our dads got to live the prime of their life in the 80s when Sports Illustrated swimsuit issues were coming out, and that's the women, and now we got what we got. I mean, what happened there?
society decayed. That's all you can say. We went the wrong way. Heck, at this point, it's a good thing there's not a Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, because you know what it'd be full
Gosh,
of?
there is actually, and
Is
it
there?
was.
Full of wieners, probably. Because
Oh,
everybody's
yeah, I
got
don't know.
on that track.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
But I did. So no, we need to stay on track because,
Okay.
like you said,
So you got some hated ones?
I've got my top 5 hated and my top 5 loved.
Okay.
So
Listen, it's more fun to talk about the hated ones. So do the loved ones first.
okay, top 5 loved, and you'll probably quickly understand there's a theme.
There's going to be an OU
There's
theme.
a theme with my top 5. No, that's not
That's
true.
not-
Number 5, I couldn't believe he was this low. Number 5 was Troy Polamalu.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on. Which he does not fit the theme in any way, shape, or form.
He just had cool hair and was
And was amazing.
Yeah, he was
Just absolutely amazing.
very good.
Number 4, and I can't believe he was this low because at first I had him at number 1, Barry Switzer.
Yeah.
Come out, talk all the trash, let his team talk all the trash they want, and just prove it on the field.
And went and hung half a
What's
hundred.
so bad about talking trash if you go out and prove it on the
You can
field?
back it up, yeah.
You know, what happened to those days? And that's what you're going to see here
That
in
was
my
the
theme.
style. That was the style.
That's what you're going to see in my theme as we move along. Number 3, Roy Jones Jr.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how much you guys watched boxing when he was a champ, light heavyweight champ, but that dude was incredible. Number 2, Brian Bosworth. And number 1, the greatest basketball player of all time, Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. I knew you were going to say it. When you got the trash talk theme going, I knew when you said basketball it was going to be Larry Bird.
Yeah. Yeah. When you can tell guys like Dr. J what you're going to score on them and then go score it on them,
Yes.
that's yeah.
Okay, go the hated ones.
Okay, the hated ones. And I hated this kid. I don't know if we've talked about him numerous times. I hated him since the first time I saw him on QB1, Spencer Rattler.
Okay.
How do you like him?
Yeah, I don't know. He does. You know what? He does seem to be a little bit humbled with his experience in South Carolina.
Because he stinks.
Well,
That's why he's humbled.
He's getting hit about every play. It's pretty rough.
Anyway, moving on from him.
Okay.
He's the most unlikable high school kid I've ever seen. Like watching him in high school and the way he treated other people around him told me everything about where he was going to go in life. Number 4, because you always knew which way he bet his money before the game started, Brent Musburger. Oh, man. When you'd be watching a game that guy was calling, if his team started losing, you just wanted to mute it.
Yeah. There's no doubt that there's something to that.
Yeah. Number 3, and believe it or not, I only have 2 actual athletes on this list. Number 3 is the other athlete on the list, Dicker the Kicker.
Why?
Because he robbed us so many times. He snatched victory out of our hands twice.
Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker. God, I can't stand that guy. Number 2.
I think about 5 other Longhorns I'll put above that guy.
I don't care. Who doesn't like hating a kicker?
Yeah.
It's easy,
Right?
though. It's
I mean,
easy
lots
to
of
hate on
people
a
even hate
kicker.
their own kicker,
Exactly.
let alone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's number 2, Zach Schmidt.
Number 2 is Lincoln Riley.
Yeah. You know what was surprising to me?
We
When
didn't see
we
any
didn't
of
see a
that.
single Lincoln Riley on any of the text.
How?
I don't know. I think
If he was
because
being
it's-
successful this year,
because
you
of
would
what's
have.
happening right now. Yeah.
And I also think it was more people immediately think of the players instead
Yeah.
of the
Hey,
ancillary
I'll
parts.
pile right on him.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad of a season he's having. And every time he opens his mouth, I hate him that much more.
All right, let me think about number
They're
1.
right there, Scott.
You'll
They're
never
right
get
there.
number 1.
Okay, here I'm thinking. Is it an NFL player?
It's not an NFL player. It is football.
Yeah, I was about to say it was a soccer player.
It is football. I'll even give you an era, the 90s. Although he's still relevant today, too. Pete Carroll. Everybody knows they cheated more at USC than SMU cheated, than OU cheated in the 80s, than Miami cheated in the 80s.
Then
And
Michigan
because of the
cheated in 23.
time, because of the era in which they cheated and the fact that it was money and they were already moving towards the NIL, nothing will ever
No.
be tainted on his record.
He did. He got out right as the posse was forming,
Yep.
and he was able to get out of there. And you're right. No one.
He's just a slime bag,
you
man.
never, ever, ever hear a bad word about Pete Carroll.
No.
You don't.
No.
You literally don't.
He is the Teflon Don of college football.
And he's. You know what's crazy? He doesn't look like it.
No.
But
That's what I'm
he's the-
saying. He's
but
a
he's
Teflon
the-
Don.
but he's the oldest
he's all
coach
like
in the NFL.
cleaned up and always looking sharp, and he is as slimy as
He's
Yeah.
the oldest coach in the NFL.
yeah. I couldn't believe nobody talked about that either. Because I was listening. I thought that was a pretty interesting deal. But
See, the one thing that I feel like I overlooked some people, and it was because it's almost like music. Like you really start you love music like when you're growing up.
yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
for
right.
my age, everybody, or not everybody, but most people like the grunge thing started when I was.
God, why does anybody like that?
Well, this one, but it changed the music. It went from hair bands and guitar solos to that, you know.
Yeah.
And when you're 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, that's the cool thing.
Yeah.
And I think that hatred for athletes is sort of that way too. Like
Although, like you said, it was pretty crazy how many people said Bill Lambier.
and so I mean though, because it was back then. It
Yeah.
was like when they were first becoming sports fans and becoming, learning.
Oh, yeah,
You see
yeah,
them. It's
yeah.
kind of like, and so.
Well, half of mine's from the 80s.
Well, and-
loved and hated.
And I'm thinking about the ones that I left. I mentioned Gabe Manecki. You remember him? Texas basketball.
See, I don't.
Oh my gosh.
No, I didn't remember him.
He was like late 90s, early 2000, or maybe a little bit.
Was that like the
before
Hollis Price era?
Around in there some. I can't remember exactly which teams he played against. But there's so many more from Big 8/Big 12 basketball. Jason Sutherland, you remember him from Missouri?
I do remember him. Yeah.
I mean that I hated him with all the passion in the world. But that was when, kind of basketball, college basketball was coming off of the 80s were kind of its huge
and
time.
our
But
Sooners were actually relevant
getting
every year.
Yeah, that's right. And Jason Sutherland is a guy because I kept on thinking.
And our
about
Sooners football team was not very relevant
and
at the time.
that's a big part of it. It really is. Those Kelvin years, those early Kelvin years, was perfect time.
Yeah.
Because Billy had dropped just a tick, and then you had the Kelvin and Eddie, and those were such great battles between those two right here in this state. And it was, Bedlam basketball was a way bigger deal to OU fans then than the football game was because they were losing the football game for the first time in a lot of people's lifetimes and had a chance to win. And of course, there's also that
I should have named the lady that screamed in my ear outside of Boone Pickens Stadium all the way to my car the first time that Les Miles beat us. But I don't really think she was a sports figure. But that was another one. That guy was on the bubble too.
Les Miles?
Les Miles was right there on the bubble. I was trying to decide.
I tell you what, I can think of two people in my lifetime, neither one are here anymore, Dad and Uncle Leon, that they would have a hard time keeping Les Miles off. And it's strictly because of 2001 and 2002 in the Bedlam game. And that's the only.
Yeah. And 2001, I got to go watch Colorado play Texas in the Big 12 championship. Because bought my tickets 3 weeks earlier.
Yeah, it's strictly because of that, for sure. Because they hated the guy. Yeah. And then from then on, it didn't matter if we going to LSU. They all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, it made it even easier.
Beside the fact that LSU beat OU in 2003, whatever, but that helped hate.
Yeah, as we threw 7 consecutive incomplete passes from the 8-yard line to end the national championship game.
And the one was so close.
Oh my gosh!
All right, what's going on?
So hold on, one last thing that I want to talk about, because I think this is something we're probably going to talk about every single week until who's going to be in the Big 12 championship.
Because of karma, and because
it's the year 2030.
Yeah, and because it just wouldn't be right if this one certain guy didn't get to wear that championship belt. Which, what a joke! Did you see that yesterday?
No.
The Big 12 has partnered with the WWE for the title game.
Gosh.
There's going to be logos on the kind of mixed logos on the field, and the MVP of the Big 12 title game is going to get a custom-made championship
cool. I gotta
belt.
admit, that's kind of cool.
And who in this whole conference, on any team, but I can think of one dude that absolutely fits the mold of needing to wear that championship belt.
Danny Stutzman.
That's exactly it. That's 100% right. Everybody, all the other teams probably have their, but Danny Stutzman, you can just see it, right?
Yeah, you can see that being his career if football doesn't work out.
Yeah, in the icy whites with the red helmet, the crimson helmet.
Be pretty cool.
On the stage, and Stutzman's putting on that bedazzled championship belt.
So who are you picking to lose?
Texas.
You think Texas loses tomorrow?
I don't.
Yeah?
I don't. And I actually, to be honest with you, just the Stutzman thing was cool. The tiebreakers don't really work out in OU's favor all that much.
No.
If Texas doesn't lose.
Yeah.
Texas losing helps them tons in a bunch of different scenarios. But OSU's not losing again.
God, if they do, it'd be a terrible loss.
It would. So I almost think it could be Texas and Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I really do, because the one team that I think can win out.
I think Texas could lose tomorrow night.
It's possible. I wish the offensive lineman from Iowa State wouldn't have said what he said about them not knowing. They don't know what's ready for them, and we've been waiting on this, and we're sending them back. Stuff like that.
It's a perfect trap game for Texas.
Exactly.
Just keep your
quiet.
mouth shut and show up and play the game.
Say it afterwards.
Although we just said if you can prove it on the field.
Yeah, I just wish you wouldn't have, because now you're right. It was kind of a trap game. It was one of those sleepy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm afraid Texas. I actually think Texas is going to win the conference, and I actually think Texas is going to go to the playoff.
I tell you what, the Big 12. It would be better financially for the Big 12 for Texas to win the conference and go to the playoff. It would be what a story if it were Bedlam Take Two.
Oh yeah. It's just hard to find the way.
And, of course, it would be at 11 a.m.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely 11.
God bless America. Man, I'm ready for the SEC, baby.
Sooners have set a record this year, a school record, for the most 11 a.m. games, even without playing in the Big 12 title game.
Are we counting Saturday's game a 10 a.m. game since it's 10 a.m.?
It's 11.
People that aren't from out here probably think that it's like some kind of rule that we have to be on at 11.
I messed up my schedule last week because I thought the game was at 11. I was hurrying and everything. Wait a minute, they play at 6? I was dumbfounded.
Yeah.
All right, what you got going on down at Garrison Financial?
Hey, it's open enrollment time for a lot of company benefits. Come holler at me if you're wanting to shop around. We can do that. We can take care of it all. We can take care of group health insurance. We can take care of family health insurance. We can take care of life insurance, group life insurance, and my favorite of all is 401ks. I can do more for a small business owner in a 401k for their future and for their retirement than they could ever imagine. So holler at me. Let's get you fixed up.
All right. Scott at SoonerWealth.com is his email address. 124 North Main is his physical location. 821-1219 is Scott's phone number. We appreciate him stopping by. By the way, we still haven't got to your Steelers.
Hey.
6-3.
If we had a real offensive coordinator,
they've been outgained every game, and they're 6-3.
if we had a real offensive, we're wasting. It's sad. We're literally wasting one of the greatest NFL defenses of all time.
The Steelers, and now they get to play backup quarterback DTR, probably backup quarterback next week against the Bengals.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
Yeah! Coming on, yeah!
Welcome back. Garrison Financial Friday right here on the Skinny on Sports. Got a little bonus, Scott, because I have trivia questions for everybody listening and for these two, Jared and Scott. Can you tell me who is the only school that the University of Oklahoma has played at least twice that they've never beaten?
Is it BYU?
It's BYU.
Yeah.
0-2.
0-2.
The Sooners are 0-2 against BYU.
I don't like that.
I had heard that somewhere.
The Copper Bowl from was Gibbs in between the Gibbs and Schnellenberger, and then of course the Bradford game. Bonus question. There are 4 schools that Oklahoma has a losing record overall series against. Can you name them?
BYU, Miami.
Nope. Not Miami.
It's Texas.
I'm shocked it's not Miami, but
It is Texas.
BYU, Texas.
Although, let's
SC?
take a look at Texas fans, take a look at the record since World War II before you get all excited.
SC is one.
Okay. LSU?
Nope.
BYU, Texas, SC.
I'm going back to the 70s. There's some bowl games.
Maybe
in there.
Notre Dame.
There it is.
Notre Dame. Okay.
Yeah.
That was Trammell yesterday. That was his. He
That was a good one.
Talking about that.
Because I wouldn't have guessed, and I never would have guessed 0-2 against BYU.
0-2.
First of all, I would have thought that they'd played more in the 80s. I mean, in the 80s, we played pretty key matchups.
Yeah, there you go. USC on the text line. That's it. USC, Notre Dame, Texas, and BYU. That was Trammell's stat. Now, if it's wrong, blame him.
Okay.
I didn't actually look it up. I just listened.
Yeah.
There isn't a. You would think somewhere in there is a one-time matchup where like an 0-1.
There's like 10 of those.
Oh, okay.
And there's some pretty amazing names
Oh, I'm sure.
that aren't around
the
anymore.
The 90s were brutal.
No. I'm talking about like the 1890s. Maybe.
Oh.
Now, it's stuff like the
Like
Norman
Kingfisher High School.
Yes, yeah. Like Norman Aerial Zoomers or something. I mean, there's some pretty
There's
crazy
a pro team.
Yeah, there's some pretty crazy
Hey,
ones.
one thing, can we stop talking about James Madison? Please.
Oh, I didn't know.
Why don't
It's
we
not
have
a
never even
sweetheart
uttered the
story.
words?
It's not. Okay, they haven't played anybody. Yeah, good for them that they moved up with the big boys and they're beating all of the teams that they used to always beat.
Now they're the ones though. They're the ones that they can't go to a bowl, right?
They can't go to a bowl. ESPN's there this weekend.
Yes, because they were trying to petition to be able to go quicker.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let them go to a bowl. Why do they?
go.
Who cares? Probably less money into the NCAA's personal pocket. They probably have to divvy out more money from the director's pocket. If
Well,
they do
here's
that.
my deal. They have that, those special exemptions for teams that aren't any good, but there's so many bowls that you got to fill them.
Yeah.
Just let them play.
Yeah.
Who wants to see 5 and 7? Whoever.
Yeah. And 5 and 7, whoever doesn't want their team in there either.
No, they'll probably fire their coach. They're trying to keep their guys out of the portal.
Yeah.
They got a lot more better things to do with their time than go play whoever.
Yeah. Yeah. So who I heard you a little bit the other day. Who's your top pick for the Aggies? Next head coach?
Who would I pick? If it was me, Lane Kiffin.
That's what you said. Yeah, that's a good
Lane
pick.
Kiffin. But
Word is the UTSA guy
they interviewed
did
him.
interview him.
Yeah,
What
they're
shocks
not
me-
gonna pick
I'm
him.
surprised they interviewed.
I think they should. That's.
It would be a great pick.
I think it would be too. And
Has he had less than a 10-win season in the last
this one,
Oh, is he?
yeah, they're not very good this year. But
he's connected. He's
he's
Knows every high
a lot
school in
of
Texas.
has a lot of inroads with high school coaches.
7-3 is
Well,
what they
that's
are.
still,
They're undefeated.
and they got 2 more games coming.
undefeated in the American Athletic Conference. So still a chance. Let's see who they got. South Florida and Tulane. So Tulane,
Yeah, that'll be tough.
that'll probably decide who plays in that title game.
And
against
South Florida has athletes, too.
SMU, I think. Tulane, SMU, and UTSA are the undefeated ones right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would pick the Lane train.
I would say that guy from San Antonio would be. I mean, that would be a smart pick.
So that's why it won't happen.
Yeah, because A&M never makes a smart pick.
Who would you, if you could, for the humor of it, like the A&M, you silly. Who would that be?
Oh, you mean the dumbest pick they could make?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh gosh, I would say I don't think he's really. Well, they've talked about him. If you brought Lebby in,
Oh, they won't.
being as young as he is, I don't think they. But there has been some talk about him. I don't know who you're thinking about. Somebody.
Oh yeah, for sure. Who do you got, Jared?
Well, I know who you're going to say.
Who?
And when you say it, it does make you laugh out loud. Well, it's Dion.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That would be
Oh, hey.
hilarious on both sides, just to watch that train wreck happen.
But can his son leave? Somebody told me that they changed the rule that now, if you transferred last year, you can't transfer this year.
I think there is a double portal
Yeah.
set out a year rule.
So he's going to stay at Colorado for one more year.
I think I've said this even before. I think he stays there as long as his son's there, and then I think his next job, Dion's next job, is in the NFL.
yeah, I don't.
I don't. I thought Deion's next job was going to be at Florida State, but they might not be firing anybody at Florida State.
Nope.
They might
No,
have finally
well, that's-
found their guy.
Yeah, and how?
His name's come up too.
Yeah, and the A&M, and how funny would that be? Back to back dudes
Oh,
that won at
gosh.
Florida State that go down and can't win at A&M.
Oh, and I also got to give you credit. Your Oregon State pick is looking pretty salty.
Listen, we're about to get to college football, and we're going to talk about who's right for an upset.
Well, since it takes me 10 minutes to get up,
Yeah, I know that's the whole
nowadays
thing
anyway.
about it. that's my pick. Who's right for an upset this week?
A lot of people.
It is
like
Washington. Have you heard Mark's stat? He's said it every single day, numerous times. Oregon State at home is 17-1 in their last 18 against the spread.
Wow.
Oregon State
And the
has
spread's 1.5.
Washington this week. Watch out.
When did Corvallis become this trap? When did that become such a hard place to play at?
When Jonathan Smith became the coach,
Yeah. Yep.
they remodeled that stadium, and
they did do that.
But they didn't try to make it bigger. They just made it like nicer. And when you watch, it looks like it's just a zoo there.
Kind of did what Oklahoma State did.
A little bit, and
Yeah.
and it's really, really working.
So who's going to be in the conference championship out there? If you're picking Oregon State to win this weekend, you talk about a train wreck
Yeah,
out
but
there.
they've got 2 losses.
Right. I think it's still Washington.
So it's still going to be Washington, Oregon.
Well, then, unless Oregon State can beat Oregon.
How many conference losses does UCLA have?
They're out of.
Pulling it up right now. Yeah, they're down the list a little bit.
Their conference losses?
3-4 in conference.
Oh, wow.
So
Word is
Washington, Oregon,
Yep.
0-1. Then you got shockingly, you know who's third in that conference right
Is
now?
Washington State still right there?
Washington State's 1-6. They're at the bottom.
Utah.
Arizona.
Oh, wow.
The Wildcats, 5-2. Think about that loss that they had to USC. They should have won that game.
Yep.
Yeah.
They should be right there with Oregon.
Yeah.
And then Oregon State. So Oregon State,
So
they can play.
Where's Arizona's coach going to go? Because you talk about doing a heck of a job.
Yeah.
That is Jed Fish. What is his background?
That's a good question.
But, okay, I think there's a promo about this right now running. Mississippi State. It looks like they are going to be set to hire the guy from Liberty that came from Coastal Carolina, that
Why would
Jamie
you not?
Chadwell or whatever that. But another name that'd been brought up was
Levy.
and Malzahn. If you're Gus Malzahn, it's a step up from UCF to Mississippi State, I think. But Mississippi State
it's
in the
also a
SEC versus UCF in the Big 12.
Mississippi State is a ceiling job. Who have you seen move on from Mississippi State?
Dan Mullen.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dan Mullen.
that's true.
That's about it.
And that's because he had your incredible quarterback.
Dak. By the way, ought to be some MVP talk about Dak.
2 weeks ago, you were cussing the guy.
Ought to be some
You
MVP.
were cussing the guy.
Needs to be some MVP talk about Dak.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, we were on college football.
I'm just saying. Ought to be.
T.J. Watt needs to win the MVP. But,
Remember, Myles Garrett might actually have a chance.
yeah, that's true.
All right, so Jed Fish.
Yeah, where's he from? What's his lineage?
The New Jersey Red Dogs. He was a GA at Florida for Zook. No, for Spurrier. Then he's been
how old is he?
47.
Oh, he's older than I
He's
thought.
been a total NFL guy. Because after the GA at Florida, he was with the Texans, the Ravens, the Broncos. Then he went back to Minnesota for 1 year, the University of. Then the Seahawks, Jacksonville. Then he went to work for Harbaugh in 2015 and 16. He was a Patriots guy, and that's where he got hired from. He was a Patriots quarterback coach and when he got hired to Arizona.
He went from a quarterback's coach in the NFL to a head coach in a
Correct.
Power 5 conference.
He went to Florida. From Florida.
He played at Florida?
Yeah, it's his alma mater. So that's pretty a wild array.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know that you could say, like when Jared, we're talking about the A&M job, he was talking the Grubb guy, Ryan Grubb, the offense coordinator at Washington. It's getting a lot of love. But what's his? A&M is. Don't you? I would feel like you'd have to have some sort of connection to Texas and the Texas high school football coaches.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really have any of that. Neither
No.
does this guy.
No.
But this guy doesn't really have a connection to anything college-wise. He spent 1 year at Minnesota. He spent 2 years at Michigan.
I'd be real interested.
1 year at – heck, he was
Where is he getting his players? That's where where's he recruiting his players
Well,
from?
hey,
Because if
Arizona and Southern Cal football, high school
Yeah.
football is, you talk about a hotbed.
but you mentioned we went to Florida. I don't know if he's from Florida. Maybe does he have some connections there? Florida's always a hotbed too of recruiting.
Yeah.
Just ask Oklahoma.
Yep.
So I wonder if that might be a selling point. Go get this guy because he can get you into the state of Florida.
But to be able to win at Arizona
yeah.
is,
Arizona is one of the hardest jobs in the country.
oh my gosh.
Ask Mike.
Yeah.
Man, this guy – did you know he – so he was the interim head coach at UCLA. That had to have been when Carl Durrell got fired before
Yeah.
Chip Kelly got hired
Yeah.
in 2017. No, not Carl Durrell. He's the one that punted to Antonio 3 times.
I was there.
Yeah. So, yeah, 20 – that's why he has been all over the map.
Yeah. That's far out.
He's with the Rams. Then he was with the Pats, and now he's the head coach at Arizona. Yeah, he's doing a heck of a job.
So I still feel good about my Oregon pick to win the Pac-12.
I do too.
I feel good about him.
All right. I've put Jared on the spot a few times about the playoff. Give me your four right now. Who's making the playoff?
Who's making the playoff? I'm going to say Alabama and Georgia because I think Alabama is going to beat Georgia in the SEC championship. I'm going to say whoever wins between Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten championship and Florida State.
So no Pac-12.
Nope, because I think that they're going to have a one-loss team out there, and a one-loss Bama will definitely be ahead of a one-loss Oregon.
So how does in Texas not the Big 12 champ at one loss?
Ooh. Yeah, they'll go right to the, but what have you done for me lately? And they'll say that they won the SEC championship. That's the hardest conference to win. And yeah. Although Texas went to Alabama and beat them in Alabama.
Yeah.
I just think the media is so starved to have Texas back because they keep telling us that and they want to be right. That they're going to push Texas to get in this thing to say, see, we told you they were back.
The money.
And the money.
Hey, Alabama's a big-time money program. I don't know that there is a bigger money program when it comes to the bottom line than what Texas – we've been saying it for forever. I mean, the fact that they've struggled is unbelievable.
See, once again, Texas is back to what? What are they back to? They haven't been there. They haven't been. You can't go back.
I'm not arguing that, but I'm just saying that's what the media wants. The media wants it to happen.
They've won 3 Big 12 titles.
What do you mean? What are they back to? They're back to where they usually are, 6-15. They're ranked 6-15 at the end of every year, right?
That's the Texas. I mean, and that's the narrative. Back.
Hell,
back to what?
We shall see. So, yeah, I stick with what I said. It'll be Bama and Georgia. Bama will beat Georgia in the SEC championship. That will vault them. And then the winner between Ohio State and Michigan and Florida State. Although, I mean, if you want to be honest, Texas probably should be ahead of Florida State, even with Florida State having a lot, being undefeated. But
Florida State's an interesting, and it's just the ACC is a big part of it, and not playing certain. We didn't see certain matchups.
Yeah, and Miami is abysmal. Will Miami ever find a head coach? Good Lord.
Let's see what Florida State's got left. Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, in North Alabama.
You talk about a gauntlet. Florida has they've had a schedule this year.
Yeah, there's every now and then where one of those SEC East teams ends up having to play some of the good ones from the other side.
Yeah.
And it's rough.
And then to have to play Florida State and Miami also. I mean, when Miami is one of your lower key games of the year, that's a pretty big-time schedule.
Yeah, and they played Utah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, their out of conference was Utah, Florida State.
And then
McNeese, and they didn't play Miami this year. But it seems like that's every couple of years.
That athletic director needs to be fired.
And Charlotte. Yeah, they played a tough.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who else has played a hard schedule. And they say this every year. I think like the last 5 years they've had the hardest schedule in the country. Arkansas.
Yes.
Arkansas plays the hardest schedule every single year.
Yeah, they've had it.
And just because of the West.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get Mizzou as one of their East teams this time.
Well, after I watched BYU beat them, I thought, man, BYU's for real. And all they've done since then is lose every game since.
All right, so what's your thoughts? What are both of y'all feelings about the state schools this week?
OU wins doesn't cover. The whole going to Provo thing, I've been very vocal about this. It scares me. It's a different atmosphere. Obviously a different climate, different time zone, all that stuff. So, but I think they cover. I think that offense kind of carries
you
over.
think they do cover?
Oh, I'm sorry,
no?
don't cover,
Okay.
but I think they win. I apologize. Because what is it, 24.5?
Last I saw.
Yeah, I think it's something like 14-17.
That's a lot of points in what's going to be a messy game.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cold and raining.
Kind of Kansas conditions. So
yeah,
that one I think they're fine, or whatever. I think they win, and then I think OSU bounces back. Were they a 7.5, 8-point favorite, 6.5?
I think
they're
Oklahoma
fine.
State.
Houston, you talk about BYU being bad. Houston's no good either.
Yeah, but then they turned right around and gave Texas all that Texas wanted.
Yeah.
How much does the Holgorsen thing play? Because I don't think he was super happy with the way some of the things that when he was at OSU. How much does that play in? Because can he rally the troops?
Yeah.
For him, his job may even be on the line, and this would sure be a nice little feather in his cap, I would think.
Yeah, it would. It would. But I'm kind of with you. I think Oklahoma will win, not cover. It's going to be ugly. I've so many people this week have told me, "Oh, we finally found our offense." No, we didn't. That's the same offense we saw the first 3 games too.
Just West Virginia couldn't stop that. Yeah,
don't tell me that we found
they got on a roll and they just kind of snowballed.
No, don't tell me that we found our offense yet.
This is just crazy. What's crazy about it is, and I'm not sitting here saying that there haven't been like, oh my gosh, what's going on offense. It's like the 4th best offense in the country. We're so spoiled though because it's not. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look right.
3-game disaster. Nick Anderson was wide open all 3 games. All 3 games. Stoops was open all 3 games. Now, against Oklahoma State, you saw that Stoops was open all 3 games. But he just quit throwing to Stoops for those 2 games. I don't know if they had a best friend breakup for a couple of weeks or what happened there. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think Texas is in trouble. I do. I'll say it right now. Iowa State will definitely cover, and I think Iowa State has a real chance to win that game Saturday.
I'm seeing 9 points.
Yeah.
Oh no, 7.5. Open at 9, down to 7.5.
Okay.
So that means
I'm not the only one picking that.
People are definitely in a little bit of agreement there.
Texas by a field goal.
You pick Texas by a field goal?
These are the games it just seems like, and they've already had a few of them. Houston was one. TCU. Last week against TCU was one. Kansas State was one, where you just go, they just find a way to win them.
Yeah.
And that's when they're good. When Texas is actually a good team, they just find ways to win those games.
Well, but that's everybody. Yeah. I mean, that's 2000 Sooners. We were all on our knees in the A&M game praying, and sure enough,
Give Texas credit. They're winning games they would have lost a couple years ago.
Well, Kansas, before we went to Texas in the 2000 season, same thing. I mean, we were at home. There I was
down at halftime
with tickets to OU Texas for the first time in my life, and we're down to Kansas at the half, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, do I even want to go? So,
good stuff. All right, we gotta take a break. Come back, wrap it up. Jared's got to go do Tradio.
Yeah.
And I got to talk about fantasy football.
I'll trade you.
It'd be funny for you to do this when you don't know who any of these guys are.
I'll totally trade you.
We do have the worst commissioner ever. That is true. We'll be back.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back. Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal, wrapping up a Garrison Financial Friday. Scott at SoonerWealth.com is his email address. 124 North Main is his address. 821-1219 is the phone number right here in Elk City. He can do all your financial planning, shops the open market, bringing the best value, as he talked about, on life insurance and investments. Scott at SoonerWealth.com. All right, it's the time of the show that 9 people have been waiting on. I don't know if there's any more than that, but 9 of them out there have been waiting on the fantasy football lines. I finally gave in to talk about the Fantasy Football League. I mentioned before the break, the worst commissioner ever. And that's literally what his name is. On his, it ought to be on his team. There's lines. There's been some people played last night. I've already hem-hawed and whined about mine and Possum's issues from last night. Finally getting everybody healthy. Devon Achan's coming back off the IR. And it's like, all right, Katie bar the door. Can we win 5 in a row and get all the way back into the playoffs? Avoid the hot chip for sure. And things started exactly like that last night. You got Lamar finding Mark Andrews, 4.3 points in one drive. You start going, oh, man, if he can do that again this half, that's 8, and then the 16, And he goes down, and he's done for the season with an ankle. So that's done. And now the hot chip is maybe screaming its way toward my mouth. But the line, there's definitely been some shenanigans behind the scenes from one player in particular. 0.5 MOY is what we call him. He's absolutely has done his best to sabotage his own probably league championship. And now he is also in danger of the hot chip. So the by far the biggest beneficiary of this sabotage has been the man who has a hat made after him, the Bob. And right now, if you look at the line that is being set by the ESPN projections, the Bob is set to roll Possum and I. 126 to 98.9 now. That's a little bit closer than that because we have yet to make the move that we'll make as soon as Achan gets officially released off of the IR. His points aren't in our total, but even if they were, it's only like 12, so then it's 126 to 110. I'll take us, plus 16. Achan will be healthy. Achan's faster than about anybody in the league, and he's had 4 weeks off. Everybody else is kind of beat up. 12.7 is a little low for him, especially with Mostert questionable. So if the line is, plus us plus 16, give me me and Possum, and probably have a decent chance at a huge upset there just to win right out. The closest are the middle two here. K-Hole, who's medically challenged with an ulcer and probably can't survive eating the hot chip at the draft next year. We may have to have some sort of EMT on site in order to make sure that K-Hole lives. He's playing two people, Hezbollah and the Fist. The Fist had a middle of the season, coming off an early season high of killing an elk and proving his manliness by being able to pack an elk in 12 hours and march across Canada or wherever he was, Colorado. And that's just kind of gone down. It's gone downhill. He let Hezbollah out of his cage for one single day, and all of a sudden their team got worse. That one's 142.1 to 140.9, the projections. I'll take K-Hole. He's had a nice team all year long. Then you got the worst commish ever. There's been multiple infractions, according to everybody else in the league, that the commish has made. Starting on draft night, where he got to have 3 picks each round and got to pick first with those 3 picks each and every round. And everybody just kind of had to sit there and take it. Problem is, he was so unathletic, he wasn't able to throw a golf ball 10 feet onto a green, which put him behind the 8 ball, picking down the order. And that has helped in some fashion here. He's been riddled with injury, just like we have. And then the big guy. The big guy has counted on Travis Kelce through the entire year. Some days it's worked, some days it hasn't. This one is projected to be a 0.1 difference. Everybody, the winner kind of separates himself from the chip. The loser is right down there with us in really tough shape for having to eliminate their esophagus and maybe their entire stomach with the heat that comes off the chip. Everyone in the league's rooting for the big guy this week, and I am too. The big fella, poor big fella. He's one of those Chicago Bear fans we've talked about. Long suffering. He gets Justin Fields back this week. Paper cut still hasn't. He did apologize to everybody for his actions after the Bedlam loss and the rudeness that he displayed. I don't know if he meant it, and that may be his downfall this week, was kind of a half-hearted, fake apology to the rest of the group in his fit of anger after the Sooners lost to the Cowboys. So the big fella, he's an 11-point favorite. I think the big fella might cover that spread. Paper cut's just limping by, playing the worst each and every week. He gets a chance to play the worst team, just the way the schedule works out. I think that's going to change this week. And then Jackson Mahomes, leader of the entirety of the league, because 0.5 MOY is an idiot. He literally I think he got bored. I think the bald 0.5 MOY, he got bored just winning in the early going. He was able to, his draft was brilliant, partly because we weren't around him, but to get Tyreek Hill with the 9th pick, and then to pull a rabbit out of his hat with Alvin Kamara and not worry about the first 4 weeks of not getting to play, because then he had Zach Moss in Jonathan Taylor's spot because Taylor wasn't playing. I mean, it was set up to be one of the best seasons of any football, and he blew it. And now, instead of at the top of the heap, he's down there trying to fight his way out of a chip that'll burn going in and going out against the league leader in Jackson Mahomes. Or Papercut's brother-in-law. We haven't really settled on a name yet. It's one of the two. There's a big spread in this one. The biggest spread of the week, 19 points. And 0.5. 0.5 deserves, out of all the people, even as bad as the commish was on draft night, even being that bad, the person that deserves to eat the chip the most because of his arrogance in believing that he could pull a couple of the bottom feeders up and out of having to eat the chip, 0.5 is the one that deserves to have to eat the chip. And because of that, we'll all be rooting for Papercut's brother-in-law, a.k.a. Jackson Mahomes, this week, to crush the 19-point spread that he's favored by. That's our fantasy football league. It's a lot of fun. There's nothing like working for about 30 minutes or an hour and looking down at your phone and seeing 58 notifications. And by the time you get done reading those, there's another 58, because let's be honest, a whole bunch of these people have nothing better to do than just text the group all day. Anyhow, it'll be fun. We'll talk about it on Monday. High school football playoffs tonight. High school basketball tonight. ParagonTV.com. A whole slew of games coming. On the small school, high school hardwood. On the fantasy football section, the identities were kept secret because nobody cares. Have a great weekend.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Way back
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.